Hi guys. Oh, hi David. New camera. Congratulations. Focused. Everything is fine. Today is what? 25th of December, 2025. It's 12:25:25. Now, a rather unusual topic today for our discussions, not politics, but eventually we'll come to politics anyway. Because we gotta talk about public transportation tonight. It's interesting. So, what's the public transportation issues right now, David, that you'd like to address?
Well, firstly, America is heavily dependent on car infrastructure, which means that you need a car to get everywhere. And car dependent infrastructure is bad because it costs tens of billions of dollars to maintain while providing no direct benefit back to us besides like being the only method of transportation.
And
So
also
I,
in
yeah,
individual transportation, let me add to it.
okay, yeah. Um, Individual transportation. Uh, while the car market, which gives the car market a monopoly effectively on transportation, which means they can charge as high prices as they want to, right? Also, because the asphalt is so expensive to maintain, quite often most of the tax revenue of localities like towns have to be spent on roads, right? Also, because you people need a car to get around, they need to pay a lot for gas, and they need to pay for the maintenance of their car. There is no other
And
option.
insurance industry
Yeah.
also.
And the car insurance industry is ridiculous. Also, um, quite often walking and biking is just not an option in a lot of these towns. If you don't live in a big city that
Yeah,
is considered walkable, you
absolutely.
cannot walk or bike to the places you need to get to. So you need a car. Um, the cars are also like comparatively like 100 times more dangerous than public transportation. So there's also the life and death factor.
Mm. What's the solution? How you develop that? What do you suggest to do like in a place like you live in, like upstate New York?
Well, on in localities, usually a bus system would be the best, but also we could implement like some sort of trolley. Trolleys would be effective for like slightly dense towns. Um, Trains would like $1 trillion expansion of the railway system around the United States would be like a huge boost. High-speed rail, especially to go from state to state. Um, yeah. Like sidewalks, bike lanes once you have a more interconnected community later on.
I understand, but that is not. I mean, what you're offering is a parallel development. Like we have whatever we have already, because you
Yeah.
can't tell people to abandon the habit and like to drive comfortably in the cars. When you drive in a car, you can do whatever you want. You can listen to whatever you want. You can do whatever you want besides driving. Talk on the phone by yourself with, I mean, with somebody, and do not be like concerned with anybody around you. The only thing you have to be focused on is surrounding and safe driving, and not
Mm.
like when you're riding in the train nowadays or in any possible way, possible means of public transportation. You have to be concerned with the people around you, with security, because security and public transportation is a separate issue, and terrorist attacks, burglars, crazy people, sick passenger in front of you in a train. That train, for example, stops. I'm talking big city now, and I was riding New York subway for quite some time, like for a couple of years, every day, and even in the better times, in like second uh, term of Bill Clinton, like 98, 99, and 2000, when I was like my first years in America, I remember that you can go in a train. You got yourself like in South Brooklyn, you get into B train. It was named Q by the time, and you go in this train. It's supposed to be express, and then suddenly it stops, and you stand like for 40 minutes, and you late to work.
Mhm.
Or on the way back, for example, on Atlantic Avenue, when 100 degrees outside, and the station Atlantic Avenue no air conditioner, and train stops because some problems down the road over there towards Brighton Beach, and everybody go on the platform with like 110 degrees, and there's nothing to breathe with. and you stand until another train comes and get out people over there. And not the situation is not secure anymore because everybody's standing on the platform while they cannot move. And the just a rumor that another train coming on a different platform makes people run and people can suffocate because they can be like smashed and other by other people, and it's kind of trumpet
Okay,
situation
I
also.
understand. I understand. Here's the thing. First, crazy people exist on the road, and they are a lot more dangerous when they're operating their own two-ton vehicle. Okay. Secondly, if you're not going to get sick during transportation, you're going to get sick wherever you're working or at the supermarket or wherever the hell, right?
But
When
it's not gonna
viruses
stop.
when
Hold on.
when
But
viruses
it's
start
not.
spreading
But
throughout
it,
an area,
David,
it
but
does
it's
not
not
matter
gonna.
where you
Hold on a
live.
sec. But it's not gonna. When you get sick, it's not gonna stop everybody else from doing what they're doing. But
Yeah.
if a person gets sick on the train stops.
No, it's not true. Unless they
Yeah.
have a very like unless they have a deadly disease, the train does not
So
stop for them.
no, the
Yeah.
person got like a sick passenger. They say sick passenger like he probably got some issue. So now they're waiting for ambulance to come and people like paramedics to come and take him out of the train because nobody can move him, nobody can touch him. You know what it is.
Just
That's how it happens,
this is
and
not this
it
is not as big.
happens
It's probably not as an issue as you think it is. Like
in New York. It
first,
is
when you say sick passenger, people are thinking like the flu. No, if somebody is like greatly injured on the train, yes, they're gonna have
not
paramedics take them.
injured, just had a
But
seizure or something, like
yeah,
yeah,
you would
like
rather he
losing
have a seizure while
conscious.
driving? Like
Huh?
imagine he had a seizure. Imagine the guy had a seizure while driving, and then he crashes a car on the road, and then now he's putting other people in danger.
Yeah. Also an
So
issue. I agree,
like,
but
yeah.
depends when the train stops because of that. I mean, it's not. It's reliable to a certain extent. That I'm trying to say that public
So yeah,
transportation is reliable, especially underground,
yeah.
on a certain extent.
Right now, the trains in New York City, for example, are the most effective and safest they've ever been, right?
I'm not sure about
Like
safest, but if effective,
no,
yes.
they've been getting safer and more effective. Like it's
True. It's true.
safety has been
Thanks
better
to
ever
our
since.
mayor that's leaving the office soon. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Um, so like there very rarely is there 40-minute stops unless somebody decides to like commit suicide on the train tracks or something, right? Like
Yeah, no, that's different.
very rarely does is there like a 40-minute delay. That's like a huge upset that affects the entire grid. So usually that does not
But
happen.
also, entire
Um,
grid is affected with repair work sometimes and accidents sometimes on like with rails itself.
they have a very effective system for repairs, actually. Like if you look into the different systems they have like 15 different types of trains that are for different repairs and they run on off hours.
Yeah, but they
And they're
stop the
very
movement sometimes, and sometimes some trains are not going, and
like you say like
it's not
delays, like
reliable. I'm trying to say it's not
try
MTA is
okay,
not reliable.
traffic can cause you to be an hour and a half late out of
True,
nowhere. And that
agree.
happens like every 5 times you're on the road. So like when we're talking about reliability, traffic alone causes way more issues
That's
than
true.
the average. Like,
Agree.
yeah.
So in the big cities, besides train, which is a lot of people in New York, I mean, a lot of people using it because they have no choice. People who have choice use cars. They drive individually because it's safer for them and it's more
It's not
comfortable
safer.
for them.
It's not safer for anybody. No, for no single person is it safer to use, no matter how good of a driver you are. It is not safer for you. It's never safer for you to take a car than a train. There
Depends.
is so much
If we consider
difference.
everything, David, including
Yeah.
possible terrorist attack.
Including terrorist attack. Yes, everything has been accounted for. When you look at the statistics, including terror attacks, how many people have died, whatever per capita, right? There's like a 100 times difference between cars and trains. Like it's nowhere you would have to have so much like stuff happening in order for it to be even like remotely the same. So
So,
yeah.
so what's your for New York City, for example? How you?
Well, first for New York City is by no means has a perfect system. Right now, they have the way the New York City metro is structured. All train lines are centered around Manhattan, pretty much.
Right,
Right?
that's true.
And it's a very Manhattan centric. It's not really for the people. It's for like tourists and
It's
like
for
businesses.
businesses,
Yeah, and
not for
businesses.
even not for
Right.
tourists.
For tourists and
People were
businesses,
coming
right?
from Brooklyn and Queens and Bronx to to city for work.
Yep.
That's why
And
it's oriented like that.
but now because the paradigm is changing
Yes,
in New
true.
York, there is a lot more interborough connections. And right
Commutes,
now,
right?
yeah, what the MTA has planned by like 2035 or something is like this one tiny line that goes through Brooklyn and Queens, right? That's the only thing they have planned, by the way. It's not even like a big project. It's just they have one line additional that's going to go from Brooklyn to Queens, and that's it.
So the biggest problem you're
Yeah,
saying in New
like
York City right now is that boroughs are not connected directly to each other.
yeah.
So the thing is, you're suggesting now, like what, expand MTA to build more direct lines between Brooklyn and Queens, for example, right?
For
Because now, if I
example,
want to go by train from Brooklyn to Queens, I have to go to the city, and it
build more
takes
in
hours
yeah,
and hours.
build
True,
more in Staten Island, build a train that goes through Verrazano. Like we need
it's not possible, unfortunately. You have to build separate tunnel,
okay, so build a separate tunnel. Like
separate
there needs to
tunnel.
be a train that goes from Staten Island to the mainland. But
So we need another tunnel to Staten Island. It's a given. I heard that discussion probably first time I heard it about like 10 years ago. I think that they had that discussions also when like in 80s and in 90s it didn't go. No, no, I don't think city has budget for this. It's federal. It should be federal financing. Now how you convince federals to pay for that, I don't know. That program
yeah.
already that Obama established was already spent. All the money was spent. I'm not sure in that big beautiful tax bill that was enacted in the beginning of this Trump term that they put some infra. I'm not sure in Biden infrastructure bill, which is huge, it's
Yeah, you're right.
1.3 trillion dollars. There's some certain money for that tunnel, at least a tunnel, train
There,
tunnel under.
yeah. Under no like liberal or neoliberal or conservative administration will these changes be implemented. The only way you could get it is like the only liberal who can do it maybe is like Pete Buttigieg, who is head of like Department of Transportation. Maybe he could do it,
Who
right?
who who can do
Pete
it?
Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg.
Buttigieg. He used to be
Yeah.
the transportation
Yeah.
minister.
The
Yeah,
Department of
right.
Transportation. Like he might be the only person who would be willing to do something like that because there's so much special interest regarding cars. There's so much investment in like political action committees. There's so much
No, no,
lobbying.
I don't think it's not
Like
going to affect cars. And whoever
no,
drives
no.
cars still will drive car.
Yeah, yeah.
If there will be train from Staten
Yeah.
Island to Brooklyn, for example,
Mhm.
or to Manhattan. To Manhattan, there's a ferry. It's free.
Mhm.
But to Brooklyn, for now, is nothing. But I think they're going to do ferry from Staten Island to Brooklyn soon. I think they announced it. But ferry is not enough. We need a
Fair
train.
enough. Yeah.
We need a New York train system connected properly to Staten Island without need to transfer to any other means of transportation, right? So
And
direct
yeah.
line.
And
So it
also in Staten Island, they have one train line. Like very famously, they have one train line going
it's free.
on the side of the island. It is
Yeah,
free.
yeah.
But the reason it's free is because not many people use it. And you know why not many people use it? Because Robert Moses, in his infinite genius, decided that he's going to build the one train line on the suburban side where everybody drives anyway. There's a
Hmm.
very urban side where they need a train and they want a train. They've been petitioning for a train for a long time and they have not gotten a train.
You're saying the urban side is by the ferry, by the way, in Staten Island, downtown.
Yeah.
Right, right. They need a train there, yeah. From suburb area there,
Yeah.
but Staten Island is very long, and it's like
Mm.
dispersed. I mean, communities are dispersed, or it's hard to. It's not that simple that you can solve the problem with one line.
Yeah. That's why like expand the bus system, whatever you need to do, right? If you because it's suburban, you're right. You should also have a bus system that can like funnel people into the train.
Mhm.
You need a more advanced public transportation system for suburban areas. But
But the couple of questions remain: who's gonna pay? And it's not going to affect cars at all. I'm saying I'm totally pro parallel development. Like if you want to build better public transportation, no problem with this.
mm,
And even I would say that if you tell me that by that toll that they enacted in New York for entering Manhattan during daytime, they're going to finance development of power, not to MTA, but they're going to finance to develop the whole system of
mm.
public transportation in New York City, I would say, okay, that's probably something worth paying for. But it's not going to be enough anyway. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars of infrastructure investments only in
um,
New York City because it's very expensive.
nah, no. You could do this with like tens of billions, and I think if we're talking about on a national scale, to build a high-speed rail, it would be hundreds of billions of dollars. but we already spend tens of billions of dollars on roads, which do not give us anything,
No,
realistically
it
speaking.
gives you right now.
Like it
Don't
gives
forget
you the method of
roads.
transportation, but it isn't. Yeah.
Not only individual transportation, also emergency transport, emergency vehicles, access
Mhm.
roads. So the better you have road system, that's security, that logistics
Okay.
in the case of
I'm
weather storms and stuff like that, evacuation routes. Roads are important for national survival. And it's also because you, by the roads, you transport cargo, a lot of cargo in the United States. So, because it's a majority, you won't gonna move cargo by high-speed rail anyway.
Yeah, you are.
High-speed rail cargo?
In every other developed country, they move most of their cargo by rail. Like even
No,
with roads. Yeah, yeah. But
trucks.
okay, yes, you distribute to like the local areas through trucks, but at most of the way should be by trains, but it's not. A lot
It's
of the
not
time,
possible.
no,
It's
yeah,
too
it is possible.
expensive.
No, it's not. It would be a huge profit. You know how much money we would save? Like,
You no, okay. It's a given that you can win on speed because it's a
yeah,
high-speed rail.
yeah,
But you see, when ship comes with goods, ships comes, containers ships,
yeah.
and they unload containers on special platform, and then that exactly container goes as a platform for the truck.
Mhm.
That system is they use it in Germany, they use it in the United States, they use it in China. In China, when they have high rails, I don't think they use high rails for transport cargo.
You don't even need to do high speed rail. Like, just more rail development for trading
Oh, so come
would
back to
already be,
rail
yeah.
for cargo
Even
rail.
yeah, you just like normal cargo rails, just an expansion of the cargo rail system would be a huge improvement. We don't even have to have high speed cargo. Focus on high speed for civilians first,
I'm
right?
afraid that that train, I'm sorry for that. I think that train already left the station. It's too late for this. They're not going to come back to regular railroads in America again.
Well, yes, because of all the special interest. I'm not saying
I think
to be
it's probably
clear.
very expensive anyway because you have to buy land, you have to get rights to the land, and it's a lot. It's like crazy. You have to
To
what
be
you have to
fair,
do.
to be fair, you don't. I'm not saying that we should ever substitute 100% have no roads and completely public transportation because obviously it's not feasible. You have to have roads going places, right? Everyone understands this. I'm not saying there should only like for no town should there only be a train line or only be a bus line. There has to be a road, but the vast majority of transportation should be done through public transportation. And if you want to drive a car, okay, you can drive your car. You'll have less traffic. You'll have to maintain the road less because there won't be as many people driving, right? Like
I agree.
yeah.
The thing
So
is,
parallel transportation could work. And like if it means giving up a lane somewhere for a bus lane, that would still make traffic more efficient because guess what? Adding another lane never made
they
traffic
did
more
this.
efficient.
They did this
Mm,
on BQE. It stopped every day. Now it's a disaster. Before we had three lines on BQE in New York,
mm,
for example, and they narrow it. And on Brooklyn Beach also towards Manhattan, they took away one lane for bikes. It
yep.
didn't help.
Well,
It make a
it
disaster there.
doesn't help traffic. No, bike lane usually doesn't help traffic. You're right. Because bike lane is usually recreational stuff, especially like you're not gonna bike across the Brooklyn Bridge to get where you need to
A
get.
lot of
Okay.
people
Like
do
yeah,
who lives in
like
Brooklyn Heights.
yeah,
People who live in Brooklyn Heights, they bike to city. No
yeah.
problem with them. But everybody else, it's a disaster. It's a
Yeah.
disaster.
The BQE, they're not shut down a lane for buses. They just shut down a lane because it's so in such bad shape that it risks
True,
like catastrophic failure
true,
if we
true,
have
true, true.
and that's the issue, right? We're so dependent on car infrastructure, and we've narrowed it down to like BQE. Like there's no for a lot of people they feel like they have to take the BQE, and a lot of times they have to, right? Because there's no good public transportation between like the
In Brooklyn, we
interboroughs.
don't have
Yeah,
highways. That's it.
yeah. Well, you don't need a highway in Brooklyn. You need more interborough rails because once you have more interborough rails, there will be less traffic on the roads that go between Brooklyn and Queens, right?
True, but if you drive to the city in the morning, for example, what you have two possible way of doing this. Either you go for a group, like let me say, like either you go Ocean Parkway
Mhm.
or you go Belt Parkway. If you go Belt or you go Flatbush Avenue, I mean, you can go by the other like parallel, but they're very slow anyway. So you go by Belt. Imagine you have three people, you can go HOV, and you go in that HOV line on a belt, and you're trying to go straight through Battery, through Cary Tunnel,
Mhm.
and it might work, but again, you sometimes, even in HOV line, you stay in traffic. And that's the only
Traffic is such a
highway, but
problem.
that's the only
Traffic is
way
such
from
a
Brook. Yeah,
problem.
but
I'm
that's the
telling
only
you.
way from Brooklyn to get through the south to the north of Brooklyn by car. If you want to go straight from south to north, it takes enormous amount of time, and it's only like 10, 12 miles in length.
It's
While
like a car.
if you would have highway that goes from Brooklyn parallel to Belt, like not parallel, but straight from south north at least, another
No,
highway
it's
would be
called
much better for
Ocean
everyone.
Parkway.
It's not
Ocean Parkway
true.
exists.
Yeah, but it's not enough. It's not a highway.
No,
It has lights, David. It has
like I
lights.
said, like I said, another lane. There has been no instance in the development of the United States where another lane or another highway has assisted the traffic flow. Almost every time when you make a region more dependent on cars, the traffic does not decrease or increase. No matter how many lanes that you add, more lanes don't help, right? It might seem like a temporary fix, but it will not work. It is like it's insane. Like Robert Moses didn't understand this, and now we have like the disaster of Staten Island. You know, like doesn't matter how many highways you put, the traffic's still going to be atrocious because it's New York City. You have 8 million people you have to service. You're never going to address it with a highway.
I'm not. I'm still thinking that. You see, I hear you. I'm still thinking that regardless of development of public transportation in the cities like New York, you won't help traffic anyway because people who driving continue to drive.
Well, some of them might, but if people see, okay, well, they finally put money towards the trains, and they're cleaner, and they're nicer, and they're faster, they're more on time because
Yeah,
they
you
invested
can
more
rest
money
on the
into it.
train, you
Then
can
yeah,
learn on the train, you can read on
yeah,
the train, you
like
can do your stuff.
once people see that it's clean, it's aesthetically appealing, whatever's holding them back, once we put money into the stuff and we invest properly, then more people will start to get accommodated to it. And once we end the social stigma of going on the train and acting like it's only a thing for poor people, which is not, right?
It's not. No,
Yeah.
even now it's not. Everybody
Yeah.
using train. Every day, if you got a ride, every day you work like 60, 75, $80,000 a year drop in the city, and you have to be there every morning, you're not gonna drive.
Mhm.
You're gonna go on a train, whatever it takes. But and that's the majority of people. It's not about poor. It's working people. Working people ride trains. If they work in the city, they got you gotta do it on the train or express bus, whatever. But it's a public transportation too. That's fine. The thing is, they don't have incentive. I mean, in the city hall to invest in this.
Yep. There's a lot of so, but now in the city hall, thankfully there is some reform happening. There's better representation. Special interest does still have a lot of influence, unfortunately, but as long as we keep getting like good reformers, as long as they keep getting elected, especially from areas like Queens and Brooklyn, then I think we're going to see some positive change.
I
But yeah.
hope so. And nationwide, high-speed rail we need. Of course, it's
Oh
gonna
yeah.
because the train ticket right now from New York, for example, to Florida. First of all, it's like almost 2 days.
Yeah, it's 2 days. Amtrak, by the way, Amtrak's not even like that fast. It's the train ticket is like $400.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
The
it's
plane is
ridiculous.
hundred
Yeah,
dollars. That's
might as
stupid.
well take
That's
the plane.
stupid. Yeah.
But Amtrak is such a failure, not because first of all, when you entrust it to a private company, you're bound to fail, right? When you entrust the whole public transportation to a company that needs to make a profit, it's not going to work out. But also, um, there was so much special like lobbying against like the permits for Amtrak because car companies were really trying to stop them. Uh, that Amtrak never really took off as a like a reliable alternative.
It's very interesting. I don't see still again. I I don't see why somebody is resisting high speed rails, and why somebody nowadays in America resisting development of regular railroads also. Because it's not going to affect a lot. Oh, you're saying cargo moves are going to be affected, like deliveries. Delivery is going to be if
Delivery is
you
going to
go
be faster, if anything. If you want to
right.
get
So
your stuff
cars,
there faster.
so truck companies like transportation companies, cars transportation companies going to
Yeah,
be
they're
affected.
interested in yeah. But also the entire car industry in general, right? And it's not like we have a good car industry. like in China where they have like $10,000 cars. Like you have to this car industry is really interested in General Motors, wherever you want. Like they are interested in keeping this down. The companies that are hired to pave the roads, maintain them. Um, yeah, it's everybody. A lot of the companies, a lot of big players have special interest in not allowing this to happen. So, you know,
I don't see how you can change that. How can you make that shift? Because the companies who do lobby certain development, they are still here and they're not going anywhere. They're going to be
mhm.
still here. And congressmen and senators who are they lobbying, they still going to be enact things that maintain the system. How you can switch that system? How can you change? How can you bring the change about? I don't
Well,
see the possibility for this.
you can bring about a revolution, or you can wait 30 years for the next generation to take power.
And what do you think? Are they still be indebted to those companies because they help them be elected? The
Yep.
system, like it's one hand washing the
Self
other hand, you know?
self-eating, yeah, self-eating snake, the
Right,
Ouroboros.
right. And it's not going to change. The system is not changing.
So
It's
you you're
itself.
not gonna like my answer. You're not, you're not gonna like my answer.
Listen, I. It's nice to hear fresh outlook like an ideas
Hmm.
that should probably work, but how you change the environment without any violence? That's a big question.
You probably don't. You probably can't. That's the issue.
So it's
Yeah.
just the dreams we're having because America should be
Well,
stable.
when you
It might
have,
be ineffective, but
yeah,
stable. You see,
but that's not the standard, right? Because what do you consider stability? Right now, we have over like 10 million homeless people, right? We have,
10 million in America, homeless people.
yeah, let me hold on, let me check, let me fact check myself. How many homeless Americans? Mm-mm-mm. Oh, like so it depends what you consider homeless. There's like very, very impoverished, like living in like the worst possible conditions is like tens of millions, but like homeless himself is like a million. So, okay.
Well, it's still a
Yeah.
lot. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. Still, like we're the richest country in the world. We can't provide free healthcare. We can't provide free childcare. We can't provide any of this stuff, right? And it's okay to look in the mirror every once in a while and say, okay, we're much better than we used to be, and we're still growing, and we're a Western country, and we have freedom, and whatever you want to say, right? But you still have to look to the future and try to advance, right? You can't be stuck in the past. So,
That's nothing I can say.
yeah.
I do believe that the country, as United States, supposed to have a free, like, basic healthcare for everyone. And again, the problem of affordability is so important, especially in the big cities, where, especially in New York, where the family doesn't make like $80,000. I don't even know how they can survive.
Yeah.
And if they're renting right now, and for example, the owner will sell the house to landlord, will sell the house to renovate it, and another owner before it's selling, they're saying to tenants, please find another place to live. And now they come into that market, which is overheated, and deficit is crazy on available apartments for rent for affordable price, like for how it used to be, like at least now on Brighton Beach, two-bedroom is like $2,500 a
Mhm.
month. This is
Yeah.
crazy. So for that thing to go down that price, you need to build a lot of social housing, a lot of social housing. You have to build and build and build and build.
The thing is, there are 28 million homes unoccupied in America. There are a million homeless people. If the government cared about ending the homeless crisis immediately, they would repossess housing from the people who stockpile housing in order to sell it at a higher price, right? And that's the thing. We're not facing a healthcare crisis, a housing crisis, a childcare crisis. We're facing a greed crisis. This is the result of unfiltered greed when you let it run wild. This is what happens when you stop enforcing antitrust, and this is what happens when you privatize every industry. Like this is the inevitable result. You can't prevent it if you have a completely free market, like Reagan tried to do, like or any of his
But you have rent
descendants.
stabilization, rent freezes in certain part of the city.
But it's a temporary fix.
Yes, it is.
It's like it's
We
not
need still build more,
yeah. And
and
like you could build more, but we have at some point we have to address the root problem, which is that houses are being like constructed for a fraction of the price they're being sold at because they're being sold at exorbitant rates right now. Banks are considering 50-year mortgages. Did you hear this?
yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
Trump said?
That's
We're
a new
talking about
thing,
50-year
gradually.
mortgages? What?
Yeah, right.
We're gonna die. Like you can't do this. We'll never own anything, at this rate. And then it won't really be
Yeah,
like
but
even
with
good for our economy.
again, the problem is also that construction materials got up in price crazy. The rules and regulations to get the permits for to build, it's a long process. And when a contractor is entering, investor is entering in that business, he need to get a return on the money, which are more expensive. Money itself more expensive because federal rate is also very high still. That's why Trump probably is saying
Yeah,
constantly
like
to Jerome, please go start to bring down the federal rate. It's important for economy. It's important, and also yeah, it's going to create more money in economy, and it's going to be inflation pressure. But if you build and you have some goods for that money, it's not going to be that big pressure. The problem is when it's a lot of extra money and nothing for this money you can buy. Then the price is going to go up, and then inflation you see in work, and that's one of the reasons. A lot of more. I'm just saying, why when you're saying that it's expensive to the house that they sold, that the sell, the price they got when they selling new house, it's multiple times what they invested, but they
yeah.
invested now more. It's not like that, and when
They
people
didn't okay,
invest,
but they didn't obviously they didn't
profitable
invest.
business. It should be
Okay,
profitable
yeah.
business.
Okay, obviously they didn't the cost of investment has not increased like by a multiple of six like housing has increased since 2008, right? Like it's not even if they did, this should only be a problem for small scale developers, like people building their own house. This is not something where companies that we have entrusted to build housing on a large scale should be suffering from. That industry should not be suffering, but they are. And quite often, major companies, major hedge funds, uh, commit to acquiring housing en masse, not to sell them even, but to create artificial demand so that one day they might be able to sell them. But they're holding on to them, not intending to sell them, but to drive up the price of housing to make it unaffordable. That is like, it, it's insane. Like, this is like dystopian. We can't be entrusting like the free, uh, like the guiding hand of the free market to like human rights, like shelter. We're the richest country in the world, and
Yeah,
that's not
I agree with you.
like it is.
On this, I agree with you. It's kind of, it's embarrassing what's going on.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. So we have 5 minutes left. What you suggest to do now for like, what should the government? I mean, if you would be in the government, what would be your first step?
If I had the control over, well, first
Not to
for public
control, be in the
for pu
government in a
public
position of.
transportation, yeah, public transportation, I would invest like hundreds of billions into national rail system. I would do like direct intervention in healthcare, and all insurance across the board, car, healthcare, housing, life insurance. I would take action in uh, the price of housing. I would take action in the price of healthcare without insurance. Like there are so
But
many
when you
things that could
say
be
action on price of housing, what do you mean by this? I don't understand.
forced. You need to force their hand to lower the price because you
Oh
can't.
no, you can't do
Yes, you
that.
can't do
It's
anything else
America.
now.
Ha, that's
No, it's not
America.
America. It's not. It
You
cannot. It can't be.
can.
It can't just be America for the people who are lucky enough to have had the money to invest with since they were born and to collect all the housing and to resell. That's
Okay,
not.
you know
That's not
what?
the way the
When
American way.
depression was developing, Roosevelt came out and said,
Yeah.
"Let us make a deal." And he asked people, business people, not
Yeah.
to add to the cost like more than 10 or 15% and something like that. So that should be done in real estate.
Okay, you cannot ask them. You must force them, and you have to say, "Listen, we know you're being greedy. We understand you want to make a profit. They will still be making a profit relatively, but they just won't be making as big returns as they were before.
I,
Like,
I don't think it's
but to be
possible
fair,
right
all
now.
problems are interconnected. Wages have not increased proportionately to the production and inflation, right? So there's a lot of things
We'll
that you
come
would
back
need to
to
work
that
on at
topic.
once.
We come back to that topic. We gotta think through a lot of stuff you're saying is not achievable on the first glance. I
Okay,
mean,
well, but
we,
here's the alternative because what I'm saying might be extreme. The alternative is that you have a revolution and everybody involved with it gets shot.
I don't think
Like,
we're gonna
yes, there
come
will
to
be a
this.
revolution. There will be a revolution if we keep going as we're going. If there is no major reform, you will have a very bloody revolution because there will be millions of people. We have a generation coming in that will never own a home or a car or whatever, like a new car. Like, we have a generation coming in that will not be able to afford rent or pay off their college.
That's a problem. We'll talk
Hmm.
about it. Thank you, David. Thank you very much. But that is
Thank you for having me.
important. This is important. Thank you, David Zadov. Thank you very much for your
Thank you for having
participation,
me.
and we'll come to this conversation again, I think, very, very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you, David, and good night. And I hope we'll talk very, very soon again.